All right, so now that we've seen what a series is, I want to talk about geometric series, which is a special kind of series. In general, doing things with series can be very difficult, and geometric series turns out to be one kind of series that we actually are able to do a lot. So I want to start off by talking about a few examples. So this first example, we have the sequence, which is given by a0 equals 3, a1 is 3 times a half, a2 is 3 times 1/2 squared, and so on. So given this pattern, we want to find a formula for the nth term of this sequence. So if we look at this, we see that every a of n has a 3 in front of it. And then we have a 1/2 here. And so this ends up being a 1/2 to the n. So for part B, it asks us to find the limit as n goes to infinity of a of n. So in this case, this is just limit as n goes to infinity of 3 times 1 over 2 to the n. If you notice, this thing is limit as n goes to infinity of 3 over 2 to the n, which, as we see here, the 2 to the n goes to infinity, so this actually just equals 0. So for part C, we want to find a pattern for our sequence of partial sums in order for us to find a formula for S of n. So if we look at S1, this is just the first term, which is 3. S2 is the sum of the first two terms, so it's 3 plus 3 times 1/2. In order to get here, this is 3 times 3 over 2. For S3, this is 3 plus 3 times 1/2 plus 3 times 1/2 squared, the sum of the first three terms. And so this is equal to 3 times 7 over 4. So for S4, if we add up the first four terms, so we have 3 plus 3 over 2, plus 3 over 4, plus 3 over 8. If we add these up, we get that this is equal to 3 times 15 over 8. Now, if we continue this, the pattern that we end up with for sequence of partial sums S of n, this is 3 times 2 to the n minus 1 over 2 to the n minus 1. All right, so in part D, we want to find the limit of the sequence of partial sums. So this ends up taking the limit as n goes to infinity of 3 times 2 to the n minus 1 over 2 to the n minus 1. And what will help us here is to simplify this expression. So this becomes 3 times 2 to the n over 2 to the n minus 1 minus 1 over 2 to the n minus 1. And so what we can see here is that this term here approaches 0. And so we're left with, this is limit n goes to infinity of 3 times 2 to the n over 2 to the n minus 1. But this simplifies into just 1 over 2. And so we get that this infinite series actually adds up to 3 over 2.